Up, everybody? Welcome back to another stream, another podcast episode. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark YouTube channel, also known as the Rational Wrestling Viewer. So, I'm going to talk about the topic of Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business. My question is, what are they doing with Bobby Lashley? Because it seemed for a while that Bobby Lashley was primed to be in the main event scene, to have a feud with Roman Reigns and face him for the Undisputed Universal Championship. It surprises me that they have not done Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley yet, because that seemed like the match that was going to be the plan for a while, but it never came to fruition for whatever reason. But the thing that I'm noticing with Bobby Lashley's run in the WWE is that it's very stop and start. Very stop and start. They always seem to it seems like they're going all the way with Bobby Lashley only to, fall back on him. It always seems they're going all the way with Bobby Lashley. Then a couple months in, they fall back and they don't pull the trigger. And judging what I've seen on TV, they're only going to go so far with Bobby Lashley. But I'm trying to figure out what it is that they're trying to do with Bobby Lashley. Because now recently, he was in a great feud with Brock Lesnar. Now, we were all under the assumption that his feud with Brock Lesnar was going to end at WrestleMania. Right? Because they've been feuding for over a year. And it seemed to always be the plan for them to just have their burn off at WrestleMania. And looking back at the feud with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley was always getting the upper hand. You look at their match back at Crown Jewel, Lesnar barely beaten Bobby Lashley. He barely beat Bobby Lashley. It took him to reverse the full Nelson lock into like some roll-up pin and got the 3 count. He didn't decisively beat Bobby Lashley. He barely survived Bobby Lashley. Then Bobby Lashley laid him out after the match. If you recall that match at Crown Jewel, he beat Brock Lesnar down after the match was over. So at the Rumble, Lashley single-handedly eliminated Brock Lesnar like it was nothing, right? So we go to Elimination Chamber, right? We go to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. We're kind of shocked that they're doing Lashley and Lesnar at the Chamber, which is odd, right? Once again, you would think they would save that match for WrestleMania, but then the match happens and it goes to a DQ finish. So they make it look like that Lashley is the superior of Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar had to kick Bobby Lashley in the nuts and the balls to escape, right? Because Lashley had him in the full Nelson lock. Had him in a full Nelson lock. Lesnar couldn't get out of it. So Lesnar had to resort to cheating. He had to resort to getting himself DQ'd to avoid losing to Lashley. So they just made it seemed that Bobby Lashley had the number of Brock Lesnar, that Brock Lesnar could not beat Bobby Lashley. Brock Lesnar, he just can't get the best he can't get the best of Bobby Lashley, right? So you're thinking, okay, they go to a DQ, so the logical route is for a burn-off match at WrestleMania, right? You could probably say a last man standing match, maybe a Hell in a Cell, maybe an I Quit match, of a stipulation that could end the feud once and for all. Because WrestleMania is usually the pay-per-view that ends a lot of feuds, right? Not all the time, but for the most part, it's known to be the feud ender, right? Particularly a Hell in a Cell match, right? But that was not the plan. That's not what happened. And Bobby Lashley wasn't even on WrestleMania. He won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which you look at that match. You already know it doesn't really mean anything, because it's just to get everybody involved in WrestleMania, right? Let's throw a whole battle royal together, and the last man standing wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy, right? Which it's prestigious, the trophy itself, but what about what happens when the wrestler wins the battle royal? What happens to their career? Do they get a title shot? Do they get a world title shot? You would think they would just get a title shot. Like Bobby Lashley won the battle royal, so okay, does he challenge Roman? Does he get to challenge Roman Reigns for the titles? Because you would think that would be the right thing to do. The logical thing to do would be to have Lashley face Roman. But no, that's not what they are doing. But they had him come out on the stage at WrestleMania and just show off the trophy. Like, hey, everybody, I won the trophy. Don't forget about me, guys. I'm here. I may not have a match at WrestleMania, but I'm showing my face. Right? That's all that was. I think, in my opinion, they did Bobby Lashley dirty. Bobby Lashley has been one of your biggest stars in the past couple of years, ever since the inception of the Hurt Business. And I'm about to get into the Hurt Business in a second, but Bobby Lashley has been more relevant, and his career has definitely recovered ever since the Hurt Business started. His career has gained new life to it. So, we're thinking, okay, Lashley is on his way to be a full-time main eventer. He wins the U.S. Championship, which is cool. He's being booked strong. He's being presented well under Triple H and Vince McMahon. But it just seemed after the Elimination Chamber and that forgotten feud with Bray Wyatt that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania. They were supposed to have a match. Something happened with Bray Wyatt. Don't know the full details of that. But that match was supposed to happen, but it didn't. And so that screwed over Bobby Lashley. And he just wound up not having anything planned for WrestleMania. So they had nothing planned for Bobby Lashley at all ever since Bray Wyatt pretty much bounced and, had to take a little break, I think. I'm not sure. But ever since that point, before WrestleMania, Bobby Lashley has been forgotten about, in a sense. WrestleMania is over, so I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with Lashley? Do we have him feud with Brock and have him continue his feud with Brock Lesnar, or just move on from that? Who knows? It seems to me that they're done with that feud altogether. and they're just going to move on from it. So it's a shame, because, we still haven't gotten that closure from the Brock and Bobby feud. And based off what we've seen on Raw this past week, they're doing Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed, right? So it seems to me that they're heading into a feud between those two, those two horses, right? It was, their match on Raw was a horse fight. It went to a no count out. And I think it's something for Bobby Lashley to do, but I'm looking at it from how they previously booked Bobby Lashley, because it always seemed that he was set up to be Roman Reigns' next challenger, right? Or at least a title, to be in title contention at the very least, right? But judging by how they've been using Bobby Lashley this past month, they don't know what they're doing. They probably don't even know what they're doing, Bobby Lashley, at the moment. We're just going to have him fight Bronson Reed, give him something to do, give him a match to keep him busy. This is more like a keep busy match, right? A stay busy match for Bobby Lashley until we can figure out what to do with him going forward, right? Because I don't think his feud with Bray Wyatt was going to ever work. It never really got started, and it just seemed like a feud that was going to fail. It was destined to fail. Those two just don't look like they would ever have a good match together, or there's like any chemistry at all, But yeah, man, they don't even know what they're doing, Bobby Lashley. I don't know what they're doing, Bobby Lashley. Me personally, I would like to see him challenge Roman Reigns, right? Now, I know Bobby Lashley would not be the one to beat Roman Reigns. That would be pretty cool if that was the case. But we already know where that's going, right? Bobby Lashley reuniting with the Hurt Business. That definitely needs to happen this year. And they keep teasing the return of the Hurt Business. They've had multiple teases backstage of it taking place. MVP and Bobby Lashley have been shown talking. They've been in backstage segments together. You've seen MVP talk with Cedric and Shelton Benjamin backstage and cameos backstage. So they're trying to tease it. They're trying to give you a sign that, hey, we hear you. We're looking to get the Hurt Business back together, but it just hasn't come to fruition yet. So we're trying to figure out, okay, what's the holdup? It's been months now since they've been teasing. When are they going to finally pull the trigger and get the Hurt Business back on our TV screens, right? Because that's what we want. We want the Hurt Business back on our TV screens because, we remember them when they first, started. The Hurt Business was putting on good TV. They were creating good TV every week, Some will say that the Hurt Business was identical to Bloodline, to the Bloodline faction, right? If they stuck around longer, they could have been the Bloodline's equal in a sense. You got the Hurt Business on Raw, and you got the Bloodline on SmackDown, tearing things up, right? And I believe that the Hurt Business is needed, because it seems the Bloodline is coming to an end, and we need another faction to kind of fill in that missing void. And I believe the Hurt Business is the faction to fill in that missing void when the Bloodline do break up eventually, and they will break up because they're heavily teasing it, the Bloodline breaking up, and maybe with this maybe with the Hurt Business, you add Omos to the group, right? You have Omos, MVP, Cedric, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley. I think that would be pretty dope. With this next inception of the Hurt Business 2.0, you add Omos. So now they're being presented as an unstoppable faction. And I think right now is a good time to bring back the Hurt Business. And it gives Shelton Benjamin something to do. It gets, Cedric Alexander something to do, MVP something to do, Omos something to do, Bobby Lashley something to do. And all that talent has nothing to do. They can come back together and, have more TV time, And, personally, I was a fan of the Hurt Business when they first showed up. When it first started out with Bobby Lashley, MVP, then they recruited Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and it was just good TV overall, right? But I think I speak for everybody that wants the Hurt Business back. The question is, will they reunite? Will they make a comeback? Time will tell. I don't book the show, but if I was, I would definitely book the Hurt Business to make a comeback and wreck shop. That's just me personally, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section. You think the Hurt Business should reunite, make a comeback, and what are they doing, Bobby Lashley? They keep pushing him, and then they stop his push. It's like they don't want to go all the way with Bobby Lashley. That's pretty evident that they're only going to go so far with Bobby Lashley. But if that's the case, then just bring back the Hurt Business, because at this point everybody's going to get sick and tired of the same old crap in terms of you push Bobby Lashley for a couple months and you peel back and you fall back and you grow cold, right? They get kind of cold on Bobby Lashley. So, just bring back the Hurt Business, because I feel like that's, the best thing to do right now, post WrestleMania, to get people excited, get people interested, invested in, on the Raws and SmackDowns, definitely needs to be more intrigue. So, yeah, with that being said, about to get up out of here. Thank you all for watching the stream, the podcast. And this is the Rational Wrestling Mark, also known as the Rational Wrestling Viewer. And let me know your comments down below. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. And subscribe today. Like for the algorithm. And I'm out. Peace.